All right, ladies and gentlemen, turn your attention back in this direction. We've got a couple more presentations. We're going to hear from the Firearms group. And we're going to start with pros. Please give everybody a warm welcome.
Okay, so I'm James, this is Anna, and this is Ryan. We were assigned Pro Firearms. We were assigned Pro Firearms, which is essentially against gun control. So the three of us believe that gun control should not be used around in different places because we have our right in our Second Amendment. It can be used as self-defense, and crimes can be committed more frequently when there is gun control. Our situation was, do we agree with the Sudanese government making every resident, passing a law to make every single resident have to have a gun in their possession? And we said yes to that. We will get more into that later.
All right, I'm John.
I'm David. And I'm Maddie, and we did the cons of firearms. In 1364 China, guns were invented, and they were used not for hunting, not for sport, but for killing people. They were used for war. And by 1380, they had spread all across Europe. Our scenario is, should South Sudan, who has just overcome an oppressive government in a civil war they had, use guns or make each household have a gun in there to prevent this from happening again? And we're saying no, because of So not only do guns cost a lot of human life annually, they also cost a lot of money annually. They cost the United States alone $229 billion a year. Now, $8.6 billion of that is direct costs, like hospitalization, like cleanup of gun accidents and things like that. But $221 billion of that is indirect costs, like propaganda and counseling for things that are traumatic experiences. Each gun death alone costs $6 million, and each gun injury costs $583,000 in hospitalization fees. We actually spend more money on gun violence annually than we do on foreign aid, which is $30 billion. Apple's annual revenue, which is $174 billion, and the annual cost of obesity, which is $224 billion. And we already are, and as of 2012, we were in $16.3 trillion in debt, the United States, and $229 billion is in health.
The Second Amendment states that our right to bear arms should not be infringed, which means that our right to bear arms, they can't take that away from us. So it is our fundamental right to be able to protect ourselves. And with guns, 37% of crimes and 47% of murders have gone down recently ever since more people have been owning guns. And with our scenario, the law they want to pass says that everyone should own a gun. And with our Second Amendment, if they have a similar law, everyone will be able to be protected.
Two important dates here. First, December 14, 2012, was the tragic shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary School, where a 20-year-old man named Adam Lanza opened fire on 20 young children, 6 adults at the school, and even killed his own mother. This shooting really made people question gun control, and they wanted stricter gun laws. It also required a background check for all citizens worldwide, and it put a ban to semi-automatic weapons, which Lanza was wielding. We the people made a petition against this, brought it to the White House, said that they wanted stricter gun control, and that was only a few hours after the shooting. And then 5 days later, President Barack Obama said that he would make gun control one of his main focuses of his presidential term. Also, March 31st, 2016, just over spring break for most of us, was the shooting at the Greyhound bus station, where a man shot and killed a state trooper. And these two shootings are just two of the many shootings that have happened and can happen in the future if no action is taken.
Alright, so this chart says that in some areas where there is less gun control, that there is less crime. And this is proven to be true in some areas. Like, for example, we take Detroit, which has like an average of 8 murders every day, is actually one of the highest or like strictest in gun control. And then, so in comparison to that, there's another city in Georgia, it's called Kennesaw, and about 5 years or so ago, they passed a law and made every household have a gun in it. And there has only been 1 murder in there since that law's been passed. And even though it's the population is like so much smaller than Detroit, it still has a good ratio of how many people are not buying them.
Okay, so 7,000 children each year are shot with a gun accidentally, and 3,000 of those children are killed or die before they even reach the hospital. And so in 2007, 122 kids were, they died because they accidentally shot themselves with a gun, and 3,060 were injured, resulting in 1,375 of those children have to be hospitalized for a long period of time and go through extensive like therapy afterwards to be able to get back up on their feet. Also, people say that there can be like gun locks or trigger locks on guns, but it's proven that 31 out of 32 types of trigger locks can be broken into with scissors or paperclip, or their spokesperson that tests these kind of things said that they can be opened simply by banging them on a table. And it's also been proven that children 7 and up can either break into the trigger locks easily or can use the gun with the trigger lock on them. Also, my dad, this is like a personal experience for me, my dad grew up using guns, hunted, he goes to the range every other week. He is very educated in guns and how to use them properly. But one day he was cleaning his gun and didn't know that there was a bullet still in the chamber of the gun, and it misfired and shot into my parents' bedroom wall. And luckily no one was in front of the gun or around where someone could have been injured like me or my 6-year-old brother. And I'm saying that precautions can be taken and we can put trigger locks on it, but accidents do happen, and that accident can be
So 33%, that stands for 33% of mass shootings that are stopped by civilians. 70% of those civilians had a concealed weapon with them. For example, in the early 2000s, a man named Richard Klotz went into the hospital and he had nurses taking care of him, and he managed to sneak a weapon with him. And when they had put him on multiple drugs, so he wasn't not exactly, right in his mind, he shot at the nurse and he didn't hit her, she did survive. And the Dr. Lee Silverman came back in the room and had his own concealed weapon and reprimanded him to the police. So if civilians are armed, then they can stop things like this from happening, whereas even if there is gun control, a murder isn't exactly, while the police things are killing people.
53% of suicides are done by guns, and this affects not people only in the community, but people in homes. I'm personally a victim of gun violence because of April 10, 2002, my mom put herself in by a gun, and so things can happen, and it can personally affect people. And so tying back to our scenario, people in South Sudan should not be able to have guns because of the crime rate, the cost of guns, and the unintentional shootings.
Our conclusion, with our scenario with Sudan, our rights to bear arms, how people have guns can affect their own safety, and how gun control can create more crimes. We are for the law for Sudan and those for guns.
As the presentation ended, it came to my attention that this is about Sudan. Pretty much everything that you guys said was in the American Constitution and stopping in America and absolutely nothing about South Sudan.
Just to clarify, I believe the scenario was whether or not they should include this in their constitution, right? As they're starting that.
It was similar to it helps in other countries and other situations.
Yeah, so they were trying to formulate a constitution, and so now the question was whether or not they should include it in the constitution. So,
Okay.
yeah, so there was a context for that.
All right, so this is for a question for both of the groups. I mean, you both have really good points, and these are both matters that, these are human rights and stuff. So would you be willing to meet in a middle ground where there would be certain laws or certain laws against certain guns, but ones that could be used for self-protection could still be obtained?
So just things like, you can't take guns within like a certain distance within like a public place.
Yeah, something like that, or like banning, say, like, buying an automatic weapon that can be used in a mass shooting.
Yeah, well, I mean, it would have to be certain laws. You'd have to really, think about it, and it would be, probably both places sacrificing certain things, but I'm sure you could find a middle ground.
Very good, thank you.